Coming up on Mountain News this morning, bitter cold temperatures are complicating cleanup after the powerful winter storm that dumped snow and ice on half the country. Plus, President Trump is getting ready to take his economic message to the nation's heartland.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Welcome to Mountain News This Morning. I'm McKinley Calandrino here with you on this Tuesday, January 26th. The time is now 6 a.m. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Desmall for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, I believe a lot of the schools across the region are closed, but maybe for some of those essential workers or those that do have to work today, what can they expect as they head out the door?
Well, expect some ice on those roadways, especially as we're heading through these early morning hours. But another thing that you need to be prepared for, those very cold temperatures with wind chill making these currents feel much colder. So currently it's 0 degrees in Clintwood, 1 degree in Wise and Jonesville, a measly 3 degrees in Whitesburg and in Logan. So it's very cold, and unfortunately we're not going to see too much of relief as we're heading into the afternoon with high temperatures only sitting in the upper 20s and low 30s. So really going to be cold all day long, but thankfully we're looking nice and clear as we're starting off the day. No snow, no flurries, not even a cloud in the sky as you're beginning off your Tuesday. But we are going to see some flurry chances later this evening. McKinley.
All right, thank you, Megan. All across the country, millions are still digging out and cleaning up in extreme cold temperatures. In Vermont, the storm dumped a foot of snow on Monday as neighbors in Nashville helped cut through the ice to get a grateful police officer on his way. In Tennessee and other states, power crews are working nonstop, trying to restore electricity for light and, crucially, heat. The storm froze air travel, too. Tens of thousands of flights were canceled due to weather, stranding travelers nationwide.
If you can stay off the roads, we really appreciate it because the crews need time to clean up.
I got school tomorrow.
You got school?
Yeah, I got school tomorrow, so if my professor sees this, I'll be late for like 2 days.
CBS News has confirmed at least 19 storm-related deaths across multiple states since the start of this winter weather. And here is a look at the power situation as a whole in Kentucky. About 28,000 customers are still without power. That's down from more than 70,000 Sunday. As you can see, the outages are mostly in south central Kentucky. Yesterday, we reported the first weather-related death confirmed by Governor Andy Beshear in Whitley County. That person was identified as 72-year-old Betty Veach. The governor said she died of hypothermia, but her son says she slipped and fell and died of a head injury. Madison Carmouche talked to Dale Bird, who says his mom was also battling dementia.
She could build a house by herself and wire it, and from the ground up, she could pretty much put one together. It may not be the best, but she could do it.
Betty Veach was a wife and mother who could do it all until dementia. Her son Dale Bird says his mom was diagnosed with dementia 6 years ago. He says help from family and technology kept his mom out of a nursing home.
And as I prayed, I just felt like if I put her in the nursing home, it would destroy her because she loved her own home and she loved all this, and she was still able to get around.
On Sunday afternoon, the unthinkable happened. Bird says his sister went to get their mom lunch, and that's when Veach walked away from her home.
She's just hollering and screaming, and she calls 911 because she can't find her.
He says that in less than an hour, crews found his mom bleeding from her head at a nearby icy railroad track. She had fallen, but she was still alive. Bird says when he got to Baptist Health, he and his family faced some tough decisions after talking with doctors.
They told me there was fracture back here, and showed all the blood around her brain, and started having me make all these decisions.
He says by Sunday evening, he watched his mom take her last breath.
Her blood pressure went down, her heart rate went down.
Bird says despite the nature of his mom's death, he is thankful she is now at rest.
She loved the Lord, and that was the Lord in her shining through to other people.
Dale Bird's mother died during a snowstorm. She could build a house by herself and wire it from the ground up. Oh. All right, the winter weather has caused a different kind of shutdown in Washington, D.C. yesterday. The inside of the U.S. Capitol is quiet due to the snowstorm hitting the nation's capital. Capitol Hill is not the biggest sledding hill in the country, but it may be the most iconic. For visitors like Tanner and Madeline Green, they say it is bizarre.
We're on vacation. Yeah, me, her mom, and her grandma, we all came for her 13th birthday.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre to be sledding in our nation's capital. It's amazing.
While technically banned thanks to a U.S. Capitol Police rule, Washington, D.C.'s congressional delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton says she always makes sure there's a measure allowing sledding on the hill in the annual appropriations bill. A woman in West Virginia was arrested after she was accused of trying to recruit people to assassinate President Trump. Members with the Jackson County, West Virginia Sheriff's Office took Morgan Morrow into custody. Deputies say further details about the situation would be released as the investigation continues. Morrow was charged with one count of making terroristic threats. A growing number of Democrats are considering rejecting a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security, which could lead to a partial government shutdown. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said his caucus won't give the measures of the 60 votes it needs. If that happens, several departments like Defense, Education, and Transportation would shut down. Some senators have suggested separating Homeland Security from other departments and creating a funding bill just for DHS. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are reportedly working on possible options to avoid another shutdown. The deadline to avoid a shutdown is Friday. President Donald Trump is getting ready to speak about energy and the economy at an event in central Iowa today. WYMT Washington correspondent John Decker has a preview.
President Trump set to travel to the battleground state of Iowa on Tuesday, where the White House says he'll discuss energy and the U.S. economy. The president, very much aware that voters are focused on pocketbook issues, plans to tell Iowans that his administration is laser focused on making daily life more affordable. The president will tout rising home values and declining gas prices nationwide. But many Americans say they're not feeling the benefits of the steadily increasing stock market gains or the strong economic growth. In fact, hiring has slowed and credit card delinquencies are rising. And many Americans tell pollsters that they expect inflation to worsen in the next year. President Trump won Iowa in 3 consecutive presidential races. And in 2026, Iowa will have open races for governor and the U.S. Senate. With less than 10 months to go until the midterm elections, the White House says the president will continue to do these trips outside the Beltway to talk about what he's doing for American families. Those trips, the White House says, will be on a nearly weekly basis. At the White House, I'm John Decker.
Good news for you as you're heading out the door. We're not dealing with any snow coming in. We're looking at plenty of clear skies. In fact, not a single cloud is moving across eastern Kentucky as you're starting off the day. However, we do have a chance of snow and flurries returning later this evening, continuing overnight. Nothing too crazy, just something to look out for. But in terms of those temperatures, it's a mixture of the low to mid single digits for many folks. The warmest temperatures right now, and I use warm very loosely, would be Stanton and Louisa at 9 degrees. It feels like temperatures even colder. We head into the afternoon. Well, we're warming up into the upper 20s and low 30s, still remaining below freezing for many folks across the region. McKinley.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you for starting your day with us here on Mountain News this morning. Coming up, sources tell CBS News that a Border Patrol commander and some federal agents are expected to pack up and leave Minneapolis soon.